A Christmas Comic Book Story is an original comic book story set inside the short story universe. Journey along with the Whittemore family during the holidays. They get into an altercation at a wonderful store called AChristmasComicBookStory. There's a big battle at the family's early Christmas party. If you like alien abduction stories, this story is for you. The story concludes with a fight against a supernatural gang called Life Force. For all new viewers/subscribers to this channel, short story universe stories are fantastic ways to learn character development, character arc, story structure, and lots more. Please listen, learn, and enjoy. A Christmas comic book story with CC closed captions turned on. At the store called Occasions. "Merry Christmas," shouted Brandon Whittemore as he, along with his wife Marla Whittemore, son Zarek Whittemore, and daughter Jillian Whittemore, entered the store. "Merry Christmas," shouted the joyful crowd inside the store. "While we wait for our Christmas food order, we can pick out a lovely Christmas gift for your grandmother, Meemaw," said Marla. "Sounds perfect," shouted Zarek. "Meemaw loves elephant stuff," said Jillian. "Great point," said Brandon as he quickly gazed over toward the painting section with the biggest smile on his face. As they playfully rushed over toward the painting section, Nathan Core and Sheila James entered the store. "Everyone, please keep your overly happy greetings to yourselves, thank you," shouted Nathan. "Not everyone shares your holiday spirit," said Sheila. "Here comes trouble," whispered Brandon. "Sure, sounds like it," whispered Marla. Nathan and Sheila behaved like total jerks as they playfully threw expensive store items back and forth toward each other. Holiday customers watched in total disbelief. "Pardon yourself," said Nathan as he accidentally knocked Jillian down onto the floor. "Watch your surroundings, kid," said Sheila. "Apologize," said Brandon. "Not happening, bro," said Nathan with the biggest smile on his face as he playfully chased Sheila around the store. With a single press on their high-tech temple device, the Whittemores suddenly changed into their advanced designer costumes. "You owe my daughter an apology," said Marla with a stern look on her face. "Make me," said Nathan. Everyone in the store quickly backed away as the comic book action started right before their eyes. "Okay, sorry," said Nathan. "We're out of here," said Sheila. The massive store crowd cheered and applauded as the Whittemores stood in the center of the store with the biggest smile on their faces. Next, the Whittemore pressed on their high-tech temple device and they changed back into their regular street clothing. Everyone in the store cleaned up the mess. "Merry Christmas," shouted the Whittemore family as they exited the store with the lovely gift for Meemaw along with their Christmas food order. At the family's Christmas party. "Merry Christmas," said the Whittemore family as they entered the house with the Christmas foods and Christmas gifts in their hands. "Merry Christmas," said Meemaw as she greeted her son Brandon, Marla, Zarek, and Jillian with the warmest hugs. After everyone ate dinner, they danced to old Christmas classics in the living room. Outside, "Now Brandon," shouted the angry voice of Brandon's villainous brother named Bradley Whittemore. "Bradley," whispered Brandon as he curiously gazed out the living room window at Bradley, who stood on the front lawn. "He invested 30,000 of my money into falling stocks," said Meemaw. "You wasted Meemaw's money and now you show back up here," said Brandon as he stepped outside onto the front porch. "Let's do this without your advanced designer costume," said Bradley as he menacingly walked over towards Brandon. As Brandon and Bradley battled, a massive neighborhood crowd formed around them. The crowd cheered and applauded as Brandon defeated Bradley. Afterward, Bradley simply ran off through the massive neighborhood crowd. "Merry Christmas," said Brandon as he nicely waved toward the joyful crowd. "Merry Christmas," said the neighborhood crowd as they walked back toward their homes. On their way home/family car. Two alien spacecrafts chased Sheila across the street in front of the Whittemore's family car. Thus, Brandon swerved the family car and almost hit a tree. "She's now in bigger trouble than earlier," said Marla. "Yeah, an alien attack," said Brandon. "They're going to abduct her," said Zarek as he gazed out the car window. "She laughed at me when I was knocked to the floor," said Jillian as she menacingly gazed out the car window directly toward Sheila. "We must help them," said Brandon as he and Marla quickly exited the car. I can't move my feet, said Marla as she and Brandon stepped 1 foot out of the family car. The same, said Brandon as he gazed down at his feet. I can't move, said Zarek. I feel paralyzed, said Jillian. White fields. What do you want? Shouted Sheila as she frantically gazed up toward the alien spacecrafts. Holy Mother, shouted Brandon as he raced over and stood side by side with Sheila. Oh my gosh, shouted Sheila as she and Brandon were beamed up into the alien spacecraft. The bright lights on the 2 spacecraft simply faded out. Thus, it was as if the 2 spacecrafts were never in the skies above. On their way home/family car. Okay, said Brandon with the most shocked look on his face as he gazed up toward the skies. The spacecrafts are completely gone, said Marla as she nervously gazed all around the skies. I can now move my feet, said Brandon as he moved his feet. Yeah. Me too, said Marla. We gotta leave, now, said Zarek. Or we could wait around and fight aliens all night long, said Jillian. Brandon quickly drove off down the street. At home/early in the morning. Brandon watched the news on his high-tech wrist device that reported Nathan, Sheila, and Bradley listed as abducted persons. Wait. Bradley was abducted, also, said Brandon. What's happening? Asked Marla as she strolled out of the kitchen. Why does it feel like I know you? Asked Jillian as she curiously gazed at the villainous man inside the coat closet. My name before the alien abduction was Nathan Core. Now I'm the entity, said Nathan with a wicked smirk on his face. You're the reason why I fell in the store earlier, said Jillian. Who are you talking to? Asked Marla as she curiously walked down the hallway toward the coat closet. Halt, said Sheila James aka Fantiz as she rose from the floor like a villainous spirit. Aliens changed you into this, said Marla. Correct, said Fantiz. Uncle Bradley, said Zarek with a shocked look on his face as he held open the living room's front door. Battle gear, on, shouted Brandon. After a single press on their high-tech temple devices, the Whitmores were dressed in their advanced designer costumes and ready for battle. There's nothing like Christmas comic book action, said Brandon. Next, an all-out battle erupted between the Whitmores versus Life Force. At her father's command, Jillian trapped the members of Life Force into a magical Christmas snow globe. Afterward, the Whitmores quickly cleaned up the house. Does anybody want breakfast? Asked Brandon. As a fierce fighting family, the Whitmores shared the most joyful holiday laughter. The end. Did you enjoy the original comic book story called A Christmas Comic Book Story? Please leave your fantastic comments down in the comments section. Happy Holidays 2022 goes out to all new subscribers and viewers to this channel. If you enjoyed the video, simply click on the like button and share this video on your social media. You can keep up to date with the epic comic book content on this channel by clicking on the bell notification icon. Reminder: I've got more fantastic comic book stories coming soon. Thanks for watching.